Welcome to this explainer. Listen, have you ever felt like you're just kind of living reactively, bouncing from one task to the next, putting out fires, hoping things will somehow magically align, but never quite feeling like you're completely in the driver's seat? Well, today we're going to completely flip that script. We're digging into an incredibly powerful master blueprint that is designed to take you from that reactive state right into a fully optimized 360-degree life. It's called the Psychotech Ecosystem, and honestly, the sheer depth of this framework is absolutely fascinating. So what is the actual endgame here? The ultimate goal of this entire blueprint is to transform you into what's known as a psychotech leader. And we're not just talking about being a bit more productive at work or hitting the gym more consistently. No, this is about becoming a deeply self-aware, purpose-driven, intensely disciplined, high-performing, and, most importantly, completely fulfilled human being. That is the ultimate aspirational state we're going after. But getting to that massive level of transformation doesn't happen by just following some vague self-help advice. This system is highly scientific. It is broken down into exactly 18 specific spokes of a functional wheel. Think about a literal wheel for a second. If even one of its 18 spokes is broken or missing altogether, you are going to be in for an incredibly bumpy ride. Or you might not even move forward at all. Now, we are definitely not going to drag you through a dense, overwhelming list of 18 separate points. To make this super actionable, we've organized everything into 5 really clear phases: the psychotech ecosystem, mastering the inner self, building core life pillars, systems for flawless execution, and achieving peak human evolution. Let's dive right into phase 1, the psychotech ecosystem. Before we get into the nuts and bolts, you really have to understand the machine as a whole. This is a true 360-degree life transformation ecosystem. We're talking about pure execution clarity here, not just tweaking a couple of daily habits and hoping for the best. This is an execution-ready system, and it demands that every single spoke functions properly to keep everything in motion. Think about it. If you pour all your energy into building wealth, but you completely ignore your health, the entire ecosystem collapses. It's a completely holistic approach to reaching your absolute highest potential. That takes us to phase 2, mastering the inner self. You know, all external success absolutely has to start with internal mastery. If things are chaotic on the inside, they're going to be chaotic on the outside, right? So we established this unshakable psychological foundation using 4 internal spokes. First up is self-discovery. We use psychometric assessments to answer that massive fundamental question, who am I? Next is purpose and vision. Here we use Ikigai mapping. That's the Japanese concept for finding your deepest reason for getting out of bed, to get crystal clear on your life's direction. Then we move to mind engineering. We're using NLP, or neuro-linguistic programming, to literally rewire your brain, knocking out limiting beliefs to build serious emotional stability. Finally, we anchor all of this with Sanatan wisdom, applying ancient Indian philosophical teachings to modern life to guarantee inner peace and right action. When these 4 lock together, you are mentally bulletproof.
All right, phase 3, building core life pillars.
So your inner foundation is rock solid. Now we transition out into the real world. These are the core life pillars that actively support you day to day. First, health optimization. We're attacking this from every angle: nutrition, sleep, breath work, all leading to sustained high energy. Because let's be real, energy is the baseline for literally all performance. Then, wealth creation. We focus heavily on income diversification to get you to true financial independence. And absolutely crucial is relationship mastery. You build out emotional intelligence and powerful communication frameworks to form deep, meaningful connections. Because honestly, having wealth and energy without genuine human connection is just empty. But here's the thing. You don't just build these pillars and call it a day. They have to be continuously maintained. And you do that by mastering critical skills, 108 of them to be exact. Yeah, you've definitely got some homework to do with this blueprint. This means diving into practice simulations, continuously applying knowledge, and maybe the hardest part, actively unlearning your outdated limiting beliefs. You have to stay incredibly adaptable to keep those pillars standing strong over time.
Moving right along to phase 4, systems for flawless execution.
Okay, be honest with yourself for a second. How often have you had a killer plan, a totally solid foundation, maybe even the right skills, but you just completely failed to execute? It happens to everybody, which is why you have to answer a very direct question. Where are you right now? This is the core of life analytics. If you don't have hard, data-driven self-awareness, tracking your life is literally impossible. You need a dashboard for your life, tracking your key performance indicators, so you know exactly where your starting line is. The sequence here is just brilliantly logical. First, assessment.
You track those KPIs. That hard data directly feeds step 2, roadmap design. You map out strategic milestones so your path is crystal clear, no guessing required. And that perfect plan powers step 3, your action system. You deploy an agile execution framework, like the plan, do, check, act cycle, to ensure you actually get results. Because a plan without an execution system is really just a wish.
And to really turbocharge that execution, this blueprint leans heavily into technology. When you strategically leverage AI productivity tools, automations, and digital knowledge dashboards, you get a staggering 10x multiplier on your efficiency. By treating tech as its own dedicated spoke in your wheel, your human productivity and intelligence just skyrocket.
Actually, scratch that. Let's pause for a second. Because all the tech and analytics in the world mean absolutely nothing without raw discipline. Consistency in action is what determines your success. Period. This blueprint attacks procrastination by forcing you to break everything down into incredibly strict 90-day execution plans. You build the habits, you track the daily actions, and you ruthlessly maintain those execution cycles. Tech is a great multiplier, sure, but your personal discipline, that's the baseline. Finally, phase 5, achieving peak human evolution. Okay, so you've mastered your mind, your pillars are strong, and your execution is flawless. What's next? Well, now your focus shifts entirely to legacy. Hitting this elite level transforms you from a consumer into a creator. Take Dharma Mastery, for instance. This guarantees every single action you take is perfectly aligned with your deepest cosmic purpose. Then we have innovation and creation, where you use design thinking to fully embody a creator mindset. And finally, contribution and impact. You start mentoring, you launch social initiatives. Because at the end of the day, true fulfillment comes from leaving a lasting legacy, not just accumulating things for yourself. And the absolute beauty of this whole system? It never actually ends. This transformation engine is an infinite lifelong cycle. You start in discovery, you level up to innovation, and eventually you hit invention. You are just continuously evolving, constantly reinventing yourself through tight feedback loops. It really is the ultimate roadmap to peak human potential. Now, here is the huge differentiator of this entire ecosystem. You absolutely cannot do this in a vacuum. Going it alone guarantees high friction, totally missing your own blind spots, and incredibly slow growth. This blueprint explicitly demands what's called the Punch-Tattva support system. Basically, you accelerate your growth by actively surrounding yourself with 5 roles: a coach, a mentor, a trainer, a counselor, and a consultant. You need that external guidance and heavy accountability to make this transformation a reality. When you put all this together, when every single one of those 18 spokes is perfectly tuned and turning in sync, this is the result: clarity of mind, strength of body, alignment of soul, power of execution, impactful life. That is the incredible ultimate reward for installing this framework, a complete, undeniable transformation into a truly elite leader. Which leaves us with one final, absolutely critical question. Are you ready to stop living reactively and finally build your own 360-degree Psychotech ecosystem? The entire blueprint is right here. The 18 spokes are mapped, the execution systems are locked and loaded. So what is going to be your very first step today toward becoming a true Psychotech leader? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I highly encourage you to start auditing your own life spokes the second this is over. Let's get to work.